100 requests, or some other number.
Or so.
Don't listen to this guy.
Yeah, thanks. Would you look at it here when you think of it?
Yeah.
Save your applaud for the end.
I'll get him one. Not you.
They can put a man on the moon, but they can't make a bottle opener that doesn't disappear. I can't open the prescription bottle for a pain pill that warns against consuming alcohol after taking one, which is coded language for the only way to float down the river in a raft without the river or a raft is by washing one down with a sensible amount of sensible alcohol like 3 trendy 5 to 6.5 ABV craft beers that you can also mainline or vape. I run hot water over the prescription bottle, but that doesn't help because the problem isn't the cap being on too tight. The problem is every other little thing, big thing, non-thing in the world I can identify with the cap trying to be the last one stable and infuriating thing in a universe that, frankly, seems a little bit limited at times. You know, when people tell me not to get so worked up, just relax, Tom, I'm telling you, I don't need to relax, the damn universe needs to relax. Oh, this relentless, expanding, and important infinity business when there's no relatable tension. When I'm told the sun will burn out in 5.3 billion years, great, I think, I'm free that week. Forever means forever, okay? I get it. Don't be so antimatter about everything. Take a nap and fart out some fairy dust. I don't need a pain pill if I can have a beer. Who needs a pain pill when you get pain from everything else? I grab a nice limited edition post-Oktoberfest schnitzel bock from the fridge. I rummage through the drawer with a spatula and a potato masher, thank you, but can't find a bottle opener. I look in the drawer we used to call the phone drawer with the tape and a stapler, but there's no bottle opener. We always leave one in the little cooler, but the little cooler is on the backseat floor of the car that went away for the weekend, and with it too the backup bottle opener in the glove compartment, and the other one I had in the garage got tossed into a 12-pack we brought to a party where it waits for us to return the next time we can't find a bottle opener, but if we can return it means we have the car and we'll have 2 and we won't need to retrieve it. What really kills me is that long ago, after a similar Where the Hell's a Bottle Opener episode, we got at least 3 or 4 more at garage sales and a brand new one at Marshall's for $5. You can get one for $1 at the dollar store. Don says, oh no, this one's lasts longer, it's cute. And I say, it only has to last as long as it takes us to lose it. And I remind her that we have not to date, in spite of my efforts, ever worn out a bottle opener. Dawn laughs, completely agrees, but we get the one at Marshall's anyway. And we put them in different places around the house, so even if we accidentally flush 1 or 2 down the toilet, a goat ransacks the house and eats another one, we'll have a backup. But the backup isn't where it should be, in the phone drawer, where inexplicably we have a little bottle of whiteout, as old as the joke about the secretary applying whiteout to the computer screen. And 4 eyeglass repair kits, all but one of them missing the little screws. I tried to open getting more post-Oktoberfest by the minute box with the handle on our utensils drawer, but when I push the bottle down, the handle pops off. Never before have I regretted not having belonged to a fraternity. I twist the cap harder thinking it might be a twist off, but only for those genuinely committed. But I only twist off my thumbprint and the flesh brightens my palm, the blood's dripping to the wet floor, and the pain seeps in. I feel sick for a second about losing all those little screws. But happily I remember I have a pain pill in this bottle. Hold on.
It's kind of foamy, sorry.
Oh, it's stunt beer. In the way. Suddenly, inside of your gloves, your hands disappear, then reappear, then get new gloves that a friend recognizes as hers. But before she can say anything, the hands that disappeared then reappear, get rid of the new gloves, and reappear inside of the gloves you're wearing. Suddenly the coin he pulled from your ear is a billiard ball, then 2, then 3, then 4. The magician says, pick one of these, you do. Now watch, he says, you do. You watch the ball you pick become a dove, and in its beak is the card you thought of when you were asked to think of a card, any card, back in 1981. Suddenly the rungs on the old wooden ladder leaning against the wall to my left turn into telescopes floating between the stilts. And some look up and some look down, stretching as far as they can to see where the ladder came from and where it wants to go. Suddenly, everybody says, it is what it is about any and everything because nothing is what it once was anymore, and hoping to be able to say, oh yeah, I get it, isn't what hope used to be. So much is what it is now that it is that we used to call same but different, we now call same but same. You know, it is what it is has never been before. Suddenly, it's a language issue again. We run a sweet column in which a 7th grader responds to her mother's comment that their house is a shit show with, yes, but Mom, it's our shit show. And you can hear the sun rise with youthful vigor. One reader gets so angry that we spelled out shit that she creates a bigger shit show of outrage and anger, but without the word shit and without the rising sun. Suddenly the boardwalk is packed with goats, sharks on break from the boring sea. Shriners zip by in tiny cars, yet just last week it was damp and dead. No goats climbing the roller coaster, no sharks eating teenagers, no inverted fez with buttered popcorn, just the circling seagulls joking about Hitchcock and what they plan to do the coming season. Suddenly, they fuck up the last few things thought to be resilient enough to survive sugar and dynamite. But they remain in charge, in furs, in indestructible chariots drawn by children. They appear in the best of issues of bullshit magazines where words like teamwork, community, empathy replace words like tyranny, alibi, and bad. And we wait as a team looking at little screens for distraction while the firing squad made up of those chariot kids keep shooting one another by mistake. Suddenly her hair thins, my teeth die. Our eyes focus poorly and on different things, no longer what we think they are. I think Vanna White is Kristen Bell, and she thinks the answer to the around the house puzzle is Walter Cronkite. And of course I'm exaggerating, but that's what seniors do when we're not complaining about things, so that Vanna White won't have to. She's almost 90. Suddenly everyone likes the robo-zombie movies about robots that were destroyed for turning on humans, then reanimated to relentlessly destroy the androids posing as humans, and who in fact believe they are humans with flesh and opinions and memories. And since Robo-Zombies 3 are able to recognize and regenerate any part of themselves, so that when they do come after you, your survivalist arsenal, your joystick, your kill skill, your robo-DNA won't be enough to change the truth. Suddenly, we're heading to the cabin, where we eat what we ate last year, we say what we'll say next year, we play Yahtzee and hike. My brother rolls 3 large straights on his first roll in 3 straight games. The same cabin by the same lake is full of the same beer, the same drunken fish who are at least as drunk as memory. We read a lot of books. The stars refuse to darken. Yahtzee, are you kidding me? Yahtzee! It's as important as the cabin. Suddenly the poem ends with the same ferocity with which it began. Suddenly it's over, yet not yet done. Suddenly, while walking the dog on Christmas night, a car races into a driveway right in front of us. It doesn't see us or slow down. It's barely 3 feet in front of us. Had Rudy been ahead of me on her leash, she'd be dead. It races up the driveway to sleep it off for New Year's Day. Don't mix this with alcohol. Oh, that's a cue. Many stories wouldn't exist if someone had just listened to the yelling. Don't go into the woods. Stay out of the quarry. Don't say Niagara Falls. And it has to be yelling. It can't be, look out. That safe's going to land, yeah, you. Yeah, well, you know, I have to raise my voice. It has to be, look out, you, yes, you, look out. Lock the outer cage. Beware the Ides of March. Why does the castle's laboratory have a gigantic exposed switch on the wall that blows the castle up. How far out of control does the monster have to get before you blow up everything just to turn him off? Careful with that wand. Don't eat the apple. Stop right there. Don't tell a soul. The last thing I remember, she came down the stairs on the turret, walked over to the gigantic switch and said, "It's time to flip this thing. Don't leave. Listen. Remember, for better or worse, I'm sorry I'm yelling. You're getting too close to the cliff." You can say there's a word of the day and look for the word of the day online, but there is no word of the day. You can say that the word of the day is apocalypse or be cute and say unknowable, but there is no word of the day. You can find a vocabulary builder with a new word of the day every day, which will be a different word of the day than the words on a word of the day desk calendar, because there is no word of the day. You can sign up to receive word of the day notifications, as if there's an official word of the day headquarters with staff people arguing over whether or not corpulent should be a word of the day before beatific or salubrious. But there is no word of the day. And when the newest staff member asks what the hell salubrious means, they realize that the newest staff member has got to go, and that the word of the day is salubrious, but there is no word of the day. Climate change. You're not going home again, but something you just noticed about your heartbeat, your disloyal body, makes you want to contact those kids, maybe grandkids by now, of a long ago still alive neighbor, to go and see if the fountain outside the park building, the ugliest small-scale institutionalization of outdoor play enhancement ever designed, the park building near Yelling Coaches where Vinnie Haywood shot that kid in the eye with a BB gun, if the fountain outside of that cell block without windows where the bones of different children were found 50 years after we moved, still has the coldest water in the world. Don't! The fog is so thick, you can't see the missiles, you can only hear them buzzing. Why are you walking in the fog? You can't see the lava, but you feel its heat and smell your burning shoes. What's on your leash that tugs? You want to shout out, "I'm over here," but whenever you open your mouth, cement slides down your throat. Where have the question marks gone? You have that funny feeling you get right before you get run down by a truck with so many stacks of unsecured bricks you can hear the air wheezing from the tires. Why are you walking in this fog? You can't see the sun jump off its perch and splash into stars. What's on your leash that tugs? You reach out because that's what everybody says you should do. You should shout out, "I'm over here, I need a rope, a pair of inflammable shoes, rosary beads." But whenever you open your mouth, it's clawed by the rescue equipment. Why are you walking in this fog when our fog is new and improved? I saw the 8th line, so I needed to. Doing some work in the yard. It's been so wet that even though I mowed 5 days ago, I'm mowing the front again. And most places twice, because the weight of the wheels both crushes and saves the longer stalks. This time, though, I say menacingly, I'll be back. Inside of the noise, I hear a smaller noise, like a faraway canary on helium. It's possible that the recent rains unearthed the remains of Howard the Canary from under the evergreens, and somehow his little skull got sucked up into the big metal lawnmower dome, where it's tumbling around in fear, but somehow also playing with a tank of helium. I mow around the non-working lamppost and look up and down our busy street. And inside the rush hour lawnmower noise, I hear the growing sound of a bus full of rehearsing sopranos being mauled by rabid dogs. Now, they do let seeing eye dogs on the bus, with the odds of a dozen of them turning rabid on the same bus. But you know, mass transit is a cabinet of curiosities. And singers are everywhere nowadays. It's like there's an epidemic of singers. Anything is possible. The cars are pulling over. I see an ambulance and fire trucks coming. So I look at our house to make sure it's not on fire too. Because maybe, while they're in the neighborhood anyway, they could put it out and turn off their damn sirens for a minute. I wonder what it's like to know the siren is for you. And I know everybody thinks that. Is it hopeful or frightening? Does it blur into a doorway, a church or prison? Do you see the newsreel of your life in the ambulance or when you get downtown? And my God, it's such chaos out here. I think my head's on fire. They're coming to put out my head. They're going to throw ladders against me and run through my brain to yank out the living. For a few seconds, when the emergency vehicles rush by, the howl of their sirens and the roar of my lawnmower blend into a passage by Wagner. I wonder if people in the cars that slowed down notice what a good job I'm doing here, back and forth over some spots to get that head-noddingly nice evenness that can soothe the passing citizen. I wonder if they had originally thought anything about heliumated canaries or a heat-seeking ambulance aiming for them. As I mow over the sidewalk to the median, an across-the-street neighbor catches my eye. He's wearing a gardening uniform to reassure his carefully crafted flowers. He returns my turf builder smile with a shrug to indicate that he thinks Wagner's okay, but not always appropriate, though he does have a dwarf willow that thrives on low E flat. He gives me a green thumbs up before dropping back into a furrow. The grass on the median seems thicker and longer than it was on the lawn. Maybe it's evolved to thrive like we have on exhaust and sirens. But instead of staying here and going over it twice, I just keep mowing a single path across the driveway, through John's median, across the next driveway, one single path, all the way downtown, crossing streets, negotiating trees, get to Rome and be done with it, screaming canaries in tow. Let everyone on Lindale see that even though my head is on fire, I don't need a fucking ambulance unless it's got a cooler full of beer. I don't need the 18S with the rabid seeing eye dogs and all those singers. I just need to get some yard work done so I can finally relax, tuck Howard back into his cereal box, and order more helium. These aren't funny. Yep. Even everything altogether wants more. My fingers always tap on an armrest or a blanket, on a book I'll never read but always carry. When I'm sitting still, they tap, and I think sometimes they're typing, maybe typing what I'm thinking, even now. Every now and then when I'm relaxing at a happy hour, not doing anything, trying to be happy, I'm told I'm always moving. I ask myself, well, my fingers anyway, what are you playing when you lightly drum on a desk or in a bar? It's 3 a.m. While reading Field and Stream in the waiting room, my fingers send telegraphs and then they clench. The doctor says you have restless leg syndrome. I tell him, no, my legs are fine. He asks me, do they tingle? I tell him that my fingers always drum and tap. I can stop them when I notice them, but when I look away, they start again. Well, the doctor says, you have restless arm syndrome. I tell him, no, my arms are fine. My hands are up to something, or just my fingers are. Peripheral neuropathy, he wonders, kidney failure. Do you often wake up running? No, I say, my legs are fine. And by the way, it's always been this way. They tapped away in school for 16 years, then they drummed the rhythm to 10,000 meetings, maybe more. The doctor looks confused and he tilts his head. They've never bothered you till now? I tell him, no, it doesn't bother me. I'm used to it, though they used to bother teachers long ago. So why did he come in? He asks. I tell him I'm a writer. I'm curious. I want to know if my fingers tap or drum or type. Maybe why they're never done with what they write. Let me get this straight, he says. You're a writer and you're curious, but didn't want to write this or see someone about this until now that you're old? I'm happy that he understands. I never got around to it, I say. I always got distracted by clouds, by how she moved her fingers smoothly. And I'm not old, I add. I'm severely middle-aged. He asked me about allergies, the pills I take, who in my family died of what. The doctor says sign this and we'll get started. When I come to, he's pulling off the final leech that's really anchored to the tip of my left thumb. We're nearly done, he says. My fingers hurt a bit, the tips of them ooze blood, the leeches barely wiggle in a bowl. The doctor says, I'll give you more details on Tuesday when the lab's done with the leeches, but I can tell you that we siphoned out 1 million doodles, thousands of poems, ambitions, novels, scores and plays, and billions of things you should have said. I go to the doctor to get groped, grounded, martinized, and weighed, maybe get warned about something. I'm at the age where my odds of becoming an astronaut diminish. Dawn wants to be sure that when we're older, we're both alive. And while she knows that's funny, she doesn't say it like a joke. She says both, like there's an undertow. The doctor says I'm good enough to remain in the body I brought. I ask him to tell me straight if beer, good beer, beer with heft is really good or bad for one's health, meaning my health. And he says, sure, it's good in moderation. Of course, I say, but why be good when better is another pint? The lab gives me a B in age-compliant wear and tear, C+ in blood, an F in attitude, but still A+ in spelling. With clearance from my doctor for the surgery, I go to the dentist to realign my consonants, to have phone numbers I can't remember etched into what's left of my teeth so I can read them with my tongue. They need to yank and scrape stuff out, graft bone and shift my jaw. The dentist says it can take 3 to 5 weeks to relearn how to speak clearly. And as the anesthesiologist nods, I wonder if anyone will notice. I go home and feel happy about my blood and guts, my mouth a dental engineering theme park. I'm on 5 medications that I wash down with beer, and all told I'm okay. But I know inside my head, or where my head used to be, that something's wrong. I stumble around and look in closets, under furniture, at bookshelves in the basement. The pilot light is on. When I fall, I get back up and brush it off. I go outside, except for the obvious foreboding of a siren far away. It's beautiful out. Here, everything's fine. Our house, my hands, the lawn, the sunlight, the sky is blue, the breeze feels like vacation. But a bird I've never heard before is singing way off key. One more. I need a couple of seconds for the lesson. Sorting the mail. I get in bed and close my eyes and try to think of nothing, but my nothing gets too busy. I can hear the stars, I'm wide awake. I go downstairs to organize the mail. I put magazines and catalogs in one pile, letters and bills in another, and announcements for events like Naked Hamlet on ice in a third. I go to bed and close my eyes, then I realize I'm wrong. I go downstairs and put the letters with the catalogs and magazines. I create a bills-only stack. And then I make a pile of the pain-in-the-ass art shows I probably should go to just to keep the fucking peace. I go to bed and close my eyes and count the sheep. They look like wolves in drag. They complain about the job. They wake me up. I go downstairs and drink a cup of milk, a quart of beer, a fifth of gin, a 2-liter bottle of Listerine, I think it is. It could be Mr. Clean, but I'm not sure. I take several multivitamins made especially for writers. They contain predicates, niacin, samariacin, bebop, rum, strychnine, red dots, opiated adverbs, spam, barbaro, boners, horsebit, 9 volts, and 50 times the amount of salt that's in the sea. I drink a bottle of cough syrup with a label that says not for human consumption. I go back upstairs to the medicine cabinet, dump out all the older pills from the amber plastic tubes, and I grind them into powder. Then go back downstairs to make a smoothie. I mean, all of them are out of date. What could they possibly do? Make me happy, pain-free, energized, and drowsy all at once? I would fucking love that! Because of a piece I saw on Channel 4, I roll up the linoleum and smoke it. Something about the bacteria that breeds in waxy buildup. I light it using the handy pocket blowtorch that's in the Swiss Army knife-like pocket tool I got when I joined ARC when I turned 10. I see angels on the clouds that I exhale, and I notice that the clouds are merely costumes worn by devils, and the devils look like writers. They complain about the job. The pocket tool also has a knife, a fork, a stapler, a dolly, a root cellar, a person put out there on Lindale when you really need someone to hear you. Do you know how hard that is in civil conversation? And I simmer and flop and throb and drop, my eyes hum, and I wonder, as I'm sure you must wonder, whenever you try to juggle while bungee jumping from a helicopter in a tornado to spinning flaming hail the size of baby fists, I wonder why the hell isn't there a better way to sort the fucking mail? I'm wide awake and realize I'm wrong. I go downstairs and stack the mail according to size. On top, there's a postcard from a wildlife cartel asking me if I received their ugly fucking address labels. On the bottom are the new issues of Slime and How to Sedate Yourself. In between are letters from writers I don't understand, postcards from artists I cannot decipher, artworks from friends who make me seem sane. I think that I'm wrong, but I don't care. I go outside and stand beneath the moon. It's 3 a.m. No slamming dog or barking door, a block away, just quiet and loud and still and fast, like something momentous will happen. The sky might explode. My skin is vibrating. The silence so tight, I hear 666 pins drop. My inner peace is not at peace with anything at all. I do not feel a oneness with the universe. I can barely feel a oneness just with me, here below the surface, a million miles from heaven, a final rung before you ditch that ladder, all the words and all the books. But I realize I'm wrong. I'm wide awake. I go downstairs to sort the mail. Thanks.